Welcome back to the Rounds of Life podcast, where every round's a different challenge, and we're just trying to make it to the end. I'm Kane Nellis.
And I'm Melton Leva de la Carmen. From cage fights to real fights, we're breaking down everything that, from real fights to cage fights, we're breaking down everything that life throws at us.
No rules, no judges. Let's tap in.
All right. So today we're joined by a New York State Eastern State champion from, of course, New York State, a New York State champ, and a Division I wrestler. His name is Braidon Woodward. From his early days on the mat, dominating high school, and going into a Division I University of Buffalo, and now announcing his next chapter right here on the pod. You're getting the full story straight from him.
If you're a wrestler, athlete, or just someone chasing a dream, this one's for you. Now let's get into it.
There. How's it going, boys?
It's going good. It's going good. Pleasure to have you on. How's it going?
I haven't seen you boys in a minute. Me and Caden just seen each other, but I haven't seen my boy Milton in a minute.
Yeah, my bad I couldn't pop out, guys.
Nah, you're good,
All
bro.
good, all good.
Yeah.
How was that day though?
No, it was a surreal moment, honestly. Honestly, me and Caden were talking about before we even went to the weigh-ins or press conference. We really never even knew they were free.
Yes, thanks.
We honestly would have made a trip probably a long time ago, but honestly, that being all of our dreams, to be there one day and to see everything in person. Honestly, it was such a surreal moment, and really it was awesome to take it all in and be like, I really could be here, That was awesome, and I definitely want to go back for sure.
Definitely.
How about you, Caden? How was your experience there?
Yeah, I felt like same here. Like it was just so surreal. I remember just taking pictures of before everyone got on, when the press conference was there Thursday, before all the fighters got there. I was taking pictures of the belts just sitting on the tables. I'm like, one day,
Exactly.
one day,
Exactly.
putting that out there in the future. That good spirit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, even just walking in the arena when not even the fighters were there, it was just awesome. And us being there, we were so excited to get there. We were there probably 2 hours early.
Yeah.
We were right up.
Top 10, top 10 in the line.
Yeah, and the line was massive. So obviously there's a lot of support from the UFC fans, but
Facts.
no, we were there a couple hours early checking out Newark, New Jersey. Wasn't a bad town, honestly. Really wasn't, but it was kind of, some parts were iffy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it was a vibe
around Prudential Center though. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? That's where they're having Final X at tomorrow, right at the Prudential Center.
What's that?
Yeah, Yanni versus PJ and all.
Oh, word. Oh yeah, shit. That's tomorrow. Yeah, June 14th.
Yes, sir. I can't wait.
Who you got? What's your prediction for that?
Come on, don't do that to me.
Yeah, I got it.
Honestly, I grew up wrestling with PJ, and me and him are still really good friends. And I think from a non-biased standpoint, I train with Yanni's little brother Elijah, so I'm really close to their family. Love their family, great people. But I think being non-biased at all in this situation, I think I gotta trust my gut and go with the 4-time NCAA champion Yanni Diakmahalis. You can't say PJ's just a high schooler, because he is not no average high schooler. He's one of the best high school wrestlers of all time, and it's gonna be a crazy few matches. It could definitely go to best of 3. I definitely think, or I think hopefully Yanni, all the videos I've been seeing, he's really locked in right now. So it's gonna be fire to watch, and it's really getting me excited. And it's not even just that match either. There's a bunch of matches I'm excited to watch, young kids coming in, like Luke Lillidahl making a statement, taking 3rd, being ranked number 1 in the country as a true freshman all year. He has really, really big test in Spencer Lee, obviously, he's probably the greatest lightweight of all time on NCAA wrestling. So that's honestly going to be crazy matchup. And you see it with all these other guys too, like all these young kids. They're making a lot of statements in these weights, and like
Yeah.
it's not even in just wrestling too.
Yeah.
Like the younger generation's honestly coming up. Like you see in a bunch of different like sports, like young generations just getting so much more talented as we get older. You know.
Facts.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome to see. And like growing up wrestling with these guys, it's like really it's like really awesome, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like just to be able to watch them compete.
You know, I love predictions. Milt, what's your prediction on that one? The PJ Duke versus Yanni.
I'm gonna have to go with the same logic as Braidon, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think PJ's so strong and like he's incredible wrestler, but I don't know, I just can't pick against Yanni.
Yeah.
I grew up watching and he obviously they're both New York boys, so it's awesome that they get
Facts.
to put on a show. Like yeah, obviously PJ grew up wrestling with Elijah. Like you see Yanni talking in a bunch of interviews where he's like, yeah, he grew up wrestling my little brother, but I can't like look at him as a little 19, 18-year-old kid. Like he's number 2 in the world, and he's right. Like PJ's on that level, so it's gonna be it's gonna be amazing. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. I low key can't wait for Zahid Valencia versus Kyle Dake too. I think people are kind of sleeping on that. I think that's gonna be a lot closer than people think. Zahid Valencia is looking really, really good right now. So I'm excited for that too. But what about you guys? You're following Final X a little bit. What match are you guys excited for?
Honestly, not too much besides the main event. Like I didn't even know like Kyle Dake was really wrestling like that. I need to be tuned in more to wrestling as much as I should be, but I'm not.
Nah, same.
Yeah,
I'm not as tuned in, but it sounds entertaining as fuck. Like I love watching wrestling. Like I love everything about it, but I just don't know really necessarily like where to start or what to watch. You know what I mean? Like the good shit.
Is Ono wrestling?
No, he's I'm pretty sure he's been in obviously America for a while now, training with Penn State.
Yeah.
And I think he's just honestly focused on folk style, and he's getting ready for next season. As far as I know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think he's wrestling for Japan for like their world team or anything. I think he's just dialing in for folk style, which honestly he just beat Spencer Lee, so I don't really know if there's anyone that could really challenge him, especially on the feet. I don't think there's anyone
And
close to him on
he's a 25er, right?
I believe he'll be. I think he's gonna be 33.
33. All
I
right.
believe he'll be 33. Yeah, but no, it's gonna be awesome. Like I really like that too. That a lot of like you see Japan guys and all these other guys coming in and training with a bunch of these high level guys, and like they're all like it's like a community, you know, just wrestling world, like all making each other, like even in MMA and stuff, like all making each other better because they all got different styles, obviously. So like if you like both work on with each other, it's just great, you know.
Mm-hmm. Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
But
I've always seen the Japanese catch up really, really close with like Americans in like combat sports. I just see that.
See recently,
They catch up pretty fast.
they're getting really, really good, really, really good. And
They're getting
again, not only in
awesome.
wrestling, they're getting good in MMA too.
Yeah, they are.
yeah, but no Japanese champ ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Not yet.
True.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't know who's the throne of Pantoja or Van when he gets in there.
I know.
Joshua Van.
Joshua
He's
Van.
I'm talking about that. What'd you guys think about that fight?
Dude.
Did you guys had Van?
Yeah.
I know me and Clinton. What about you, Mel? You had Van too?
Of course I had fun, bro.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Is it Von or is it Van? I don't.
I think it's
really
Van.
know. Is it Van?
Yeah.
I say
I
say
definitely-
Joshua, bro.
No, I definitely. He looks really, really good after that performance. He looks really, really good.
Facts. And he's fighting what now at the end of the month on the Ilya card, a number one contender.
Yep.
He had 6 fights in this past year.
Exactly.
Dog.
And, That's insane.
It reminds
I
me of
love
Izzy.
watching him
It
fight.
reminds me of Izzy's come up. Low
Yeah.
key.
You know who loves fighting too? That just posted. He's like, "Give me another fight." Kevin Holland. He's a
Yeah.
beast.
Kevin Holland, yeah.
He always wants to fight.
It's good to see him hungry.
Yeah, but he doesn't want the top contenders.
No, he even said it. He did. He said he wants the easy payday. He said, "Give me Kobe Covington."
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's smart. Like he's not gonna fake what he wants. He's so funny.
You know, have you on here talk about your wrestling journey, and I want to start to dive into your wrestling journey. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Do it. Yes, sir.
And I feel like it's only right to start from the beginning. In the beginning,
Right.
which is obviously youth, but you know, like what first even got you into youth wrestling? You know, like what sparked your interest to wrestle in the beginning?
Right. So honestly, my whole life, I obviously the person I look up to the most is my brother, and he like not much people wrestled in my family really at all, and my brother, I remember he was 7 at the time, so I was a newborn. I was like 1, or maybe going on to 2, and I know he wanted to try it, and he kept like begging my parents. My dad took him right down to Kansas State Wrestling Club (CWC), and that's where it really all started. Actually, I'm pretty sure he went to Hornell first, and then tried that out, and then went to Kansas Steel
That's what I
with a
did.
bunch of his buddies. Yeah, and then so yeah, that's really what kind of got it started. I always looked up to my brother, and I remember I was like 2 years old, 3 years old, barely walking, and I was like telling my dad, and I was like throwing fits, getting all mad because I wasn't able to go out and do tournaments like Tommy was, and like I would always get mad. And then they finally gave in when I was like 3, and they started letting me practice. And the thing was, I hated practice. Right off the bat, I hated practice. I hated going. That's the only thing. So my dad was like, "All right, then you can't wrestle at the tournaments." And then we would get to the tournaments, and I would just throw a fit until they'd finally throw me in there. And then, like I was doing really good, especially even at a young age. Like when I started, I was doing really good, and like they kept thinking like they just throw him in. Like my mom jokes around saying, "Oh, we just threw him in to hopefully get him beat up a little bit so he doesn't want to keep begging." But then I'd come out, win the tournament, and then they'd have to, keep trying to make me go to practice and keep the cycle going. But no, that's kind of what really got it started was my brother. So really,
It's a
and I
legendary story.
Facts.
really in everything too, like. My brother has always been a big influence. Like he was really good at football too. I played football because of him. He was into baseball. We were 3-sport athletes, and I always looked up to him and always wanted to do everything he wanted to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
But
that. It's that brotherly
yeah.
love.
Yes, sir. That's my ride or die, for sure. Always.
They got thrown in deep waters and survived. Not only that, came out on top. Like,
Yo,
damn.
facts.
As a
The
kid,
thing, listen, that's how it always was when I was younger. My brother, like, not in like no mean way, obviously, like that. Being my older brother, he was like, "All right, you want to hang out with us? Like, we'll go play backyard football. It'd be me and Caden versus him and his friends, which are 6 years older than us, and like they'd be playing like hard, they'd be playing rough, and I'd obviously like get beat up and." I'd even cry and stuff, but like I'd always want to come back, and that's what really made me tough was my brother, my whole family, my dad and everybody. They'd be doing the same thing, and it like the biggest thing was I'd just keep coming back because I mean I don't know, I just fell in love with it, and like even like when I'd have like a hard day, like even just crying all the time in practice and everything, I'd still like look at the bigger picture and still want to keep going at something and have like a purpose.
yeah.
100%.
What
When did
about you guys? I know you guys met at Elmira. I want to hear about what kind of got you guys started a little bit.
I started? You go first. You go first, Mo.
You sure?
Yeah, that's your.
You
Yeah.
can go first.
You sure?
All right, bet. I'll start because I guess mine's a little shorter. Um, as a I looked to wrestling after seeing a few clips of my brother wrestling when he was in high school, and I
How
thought it was
old
pretty
are you?
cool.
How old are you guys apart? You and your brother.
7,
Okay.
and I started seeing shit like that, and then I found it interesting, and then I got introduced into the UFC by my little brother. He introduced me to Khabib, and immediately I fell in love with wrestling. Immediately I fell in love with it. Like the way that Khabib was able to articulate his aggression through wrestling was just beautiful to me. And at the time, I was really going through it, and I really needed some sort of outlet, and I didn't feel like boxing was the best way at the time because of how much aggression I had and how much ill will I guess I had. So I felt like I needed to be humbled in some way. I
Right.
don't necessarily get humiliated by getting hit in the face. I get humiliated by just like getting put down and stuck to the ground.
Nah,
And
100%. I feel that.
so I cling to wrestling in that way to sort of teach me by controlling my anger and controlling my emotions and my anxiety, my depression, all of it.
Exactly.
Well, I looked to get humbled, and then I did. And even when I've gone through so much with wrestling where I tore my labrum, my knees are never going to be the same because of like the shots I took even on concrete because of like even dire situations. Like it's helped me out at times where like I never thought I needed it, or like I could have resolved it a so much different way. And wrestling has helped me out with that. You know, helped me control myself. And I guess there's like some irreversible changes in my body that came from it, but the most important thing was I always persevered, and I always decided to see the greater side of things. Win or lose, there's always a lesson in something. So
Right.
that's
Uh,
what
that,
wrestling really
that's
triggers me.
really that's a good message too, because that really proves wrestling is more than just wrestling. It's honestly like it helps, and it can help in anything in life. You know, like it really does. And I really feel where you come from on that. 100%. That's
Thanks, bro.
awesome. Right. That's awesome.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
What about you?
Shit. Honestly, what got me into wrestling was WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to practice.
I'm almost positive that's what got my brother into wrestling as
Really?
well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm almost
Yeah.
100%
I
because we grew up watching WWE all the time. We used to
damn.
play with the little action
Yeah.
figures. You remember? That was awesome.
I remember going to practice and I'm like, where's the ring? Where's the tables? I just see a mat, bro. I was low key tight. I think that's why, like, at my younger age, like when I was wrestling, I had such a love hate relationship with it because it wasn't anywhere near my
What?
expectations.
Right.
Yeah.
What age? What did you start at?
Second grade.
Wasn't it
So I was like, I don't even remember.
like 7 or 8?
Yeah, 7 or 8. I think I was like 8.
Okay.
But
Nah,
then
that's awesome.
I did like 1 year now, like your brother. Then me and you met playing football. And then you talked me into going CWC. So I went over to CWC. And then, yeah, never looked back.
Man, CWC was legendary, wasn't it?
Facts. It was.
It really was.
Dude, like,
That
dude,
was.
how many kids would they have? Like, dude, like 50 something? Like, there was like mad kids on there.
I promise you, there was times when we had over 100 kids signed up for our club.
Mm.
We had I can't remember how many like state titles we won as like obviously it's youth and everything,
Yeah.
but like that meant a lot to us because we worked so hard for it and we would work really really hard. Like I remember we like you don't go to clubs nowadays and see we literally had 6 coaches where we'd have 6 different groups and like I really think that's why we did so well. Like obviously like we really did have the best coaches around and like you got different like coaching but like it always like almost focused on you, you know?
Mm.
It wasn't like kind of what you see nowadays where like, don't get me wrong, there's so many great clubs nowadays, but like I'm saying, you'll have one coach for like 30, 40 kids, and you can't. It's so hard, and especially as a coach, like it's so hard to try to teach people one thing and then go around help. It takes so much more time, you know. And I really think that's why we did really good. And no, it was legendary. It was awesome. That was crazy.
Facts, bro.
That's actually a good observation of coaching. Like the amount of numbers in the coaching staff do matter, and I feel like the numbers decrease because of how much has been defunded over the
Right.
years. I feel like they're trying to take away wrestling, like out of programs and shit.
Yo, 100%. I remember
Well,
like when I
there's a
went
lot
to
of
Arc Board, bro. Like our practices was in the cafeteria, bro. You know what I mean? Like they was wrestling there always got like no love. Wrestling just be getting no love in general.
The crazy thing is, Can of Steel, I'll tell you this, man. We created something so good where we won years on years on years of sectional titles, and no hate to any other sport. Like I said, I'm not throwing no hate at all. Like we kept winning, and this wasn't like we'd win like 4 years in a row, and then like we'd be bad for 3 years. We were good every year, and we would have to. Sometimes we wouldn't even be able to practice in the gym. We get kicked out over like basketball and stuff, and I'm like, after like not trying to be that way, but after like what we do
Yeah,
to like, not really many people know Can't Steal, and like if they do, it's probably because of wrestling.
that's
You know,
facts. Yo,
you know what I mean? Like
that's big
I don't,
facts.
I never really wanted to be like that, but I was just like, that's just the way I kind of see it. You know, where I didn't, like you said, I don't think wrestling gets. I think that's in general too. Not hating on any school. I'm just saying like in general, I don't think wrestling gets respect at all.
Mm.
And I feel like that. I feel like that's just like from like the shine light and like the marketing standpoint. Like I was even talking to Keegan yesterday. I'm like, cause like I'm so like hit or miss with wrestling nowadays. Like, do I keep doing this or not? Because like there really is no glory in the shit. Like I asked him, could you name any of the last year's D3 or D2 national champions? He's like, no. Could like, you know what I mean? Can you? You probably can because like you're more in tune to wrestling like that. But like,
Right. No, I get
you know what I'm
100%.
saying?
I get, and that kind of ties in with my whole thought process on what I was thinking about college and everything. Like, because we low key we've always had almost the same path, and like we've always just trained stuck together our whole life. But like, there's to a point where I didn't want to make it where it was I'm gonna go D1 or I'm not gonna go to college, but it almost was, if I'm gonna do wrestling, one, I want to be on the highest level, and two, I'm gonna make sure I'm like going to give it my all. You know, I'm not gonna just. It's not for fun, and I explain this to all my kids I train. I'm like, you're not wrestling for fun. This is not fun. This is a whole another game, and it's a whole different lifestyle, and like you do it because you want to be the best, and that's how I always kind of thought of it. And honestly, I felt what you were saying. There was times where I felt I was like, man, my end goal is I want to be a UFC champ, but I'm like, I wasn't seeing like where wrestling was getting me with it until I started like obviously getting my name out there, and then more people start noticing me, more colleges start contacting me, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can make a name for myself now. And now if I start winning, especially these next few years I'm winning, I can make a big name for myself, maybe go to a bigger promotion right off for amateur and pro, like that's just my whole thought process on it. And that's why I always understand we'd always have those talks where like,
Yeah.
is it really worth it? And I always got your side because I 100% feel you, you know? Like that's the whole thing about college too. Like you I don't know what you guys think about college, but I think it's I don't know.
It's a
I don't know.
fleece.
Um,
It's a
It is,
fleece,
man.
bro.
it's a money grab.
It low-key is.
It really is, but unless you're really like, I was just talking to my boy Luke, Big Luke, about this. I was talking to him. I'm like, unless you're like a doctor, lawyer, and you have to go to college for what you're doing, you don't like. What are you going to college for unless you're not playing a sport?
Yeah, nah, for real.
You know what I mean?
That
Like
ass.
they offer you stupid classes to try to get more money off you. Like it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't like the idea of college, and obviously without wrestling, you know.
Same.
I
I'm
feel
the
that.
same exactly.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Some people would like to just go, you know, get a new experience and like get away for a little bit. So that could be a good thing. But that's just my standpoint on college. So
Mhm.
I'm here to wrestle, you know.
You know,
I feel.
lean back a little bit towards the youth to end that off.
Yep.
Like throughout your years, when did you realize like, all right, yeah, like this is like when you knew you could compete at a high level and it was for you, like you were made for it.
Right. So honestly, I always I'd like to say like I always kind of made it so I didn't think I was in such big moments like my whole career where I was wrestling as at a young age and like my family was like my brother and my dad were really good at keeping me very like humble and like
Grounded.
looking for like what's like the best like what's next because I was like 5 6 years old like and I was wrestling at a state tournament. I was wrestling Zach Ryder, who is one of the best wrestlers in college, who will be one of the best wrestlers
Where's you
next year
wrestle?
as a freshman. Transferred from Penn State to Oklahoma State.
Dang,
So
you beat him?
I that's actually a funny story. Me and him, I believe he might. I believe we're tied. Like probably some. We probably wrestled like 6 or 8 times in our whole career. Like as
Damn.
youngins, though. I haven't wrestled him in forever. I definitely feel confident right now. He would beat me, but I think definitely once I get back in my shape that I need to get in and get back locked in. I think I'm gonna be right up there with those guys again. But yeah, like I was saying, like 6 years old. I was wrestling at the state finals tournament. We were like little kids, and everyone was circled around the mat.
Mm.
And like, I didn't. My parents who was like not making anything big of it. They were just trying to like keep me like calm. It was like because I'm a little kid. I'm like seeing all these everyone surrounding our mat, and like I knew who Zack Ryder was because we wrestled before at like a Penn State tournament when I was I think like 5 years old, and I actually beat him at Penn State in Nyway. I believe we're probably 2-2, or he might have another win over me. He might be 3-2, but when we're super little. But I remember like at Nyway, just everybody circling around, and I ended up beating him. And like I remember like just like I was like so happy. That was like first time I start flexing as a little kid. I was flexing
Mm.
at the crowd because everyone was just going crazy. Because he was insane in youth too. He was like I want to say 8 or 9 time probably state
Damn.
champ as a little kid. Never he's only
Ooh.
lost one ever at Nyway, I believe, as a little kid, and that was when we wrestled. But like it was insane, and that's when I like you were saying like I like talked to my brother and my dad like as a little kid and they're like you really got this you really could do something special. And then after that, that's when we started really traveling the country, going to different tournaments, and like I was winning like Flow Nationals, winning Mawa Nationals. Like that's when I started to realize like I have something going for me.
Your bread and
But
butter.
it was so surreal. It was crazy, especially as a little kid. But I never want to make the moment as big as it really was,
I feel
especially
that.
in the moment.
You know, talking like how you say you wrestle at like those Penn State tournaments, like as a in youth, and names like Zack Ryder. What are other like names that like you wrestled throughout like your time like at that level? You know what I mean? Like the big names.
I mean, like I said, I grew up like wrestling Zack Ryder, PJ Duke, and I wrestled Steve-O Poland when I was
Oh
younger.
shit.
I like I wrestled really really high level kids. Both like I remember. So one of my favorite memories as a little kid that I'll always remember, that I always tell people. Again, I was like probably 8 or 9 years old, and there was this tournament we always used to love to go to in Indiana, and it was like an all-star team. Like you make New York team, California team, you know what I mean? And then we all just duel it out. Like it's almost like a bunch of states just dueling it out. And it was always like me, like Leo DeLuca was on there, Zack Ryder, PJ Duke, and like the team was stacked. And that's like honestly, like that was one of like the most like craziest moments, especially looking back at it now.
Yeah, I
Like
bet.
seeing that, and I'm like, and that's what honestly keeps me going too. Like I'm looking like back and like no matter how many setbacks or like anything that happens, like I still like see where I am and who I really am. Like and that like and it always like excites me because I know I can and will
Mm.
be one of the best.
100%.
So no, definitely that's just definitely crazy looking back on. But like, as a little kid, like you were saying, like you didn't really think anything of it. Like you really didn't because it was all trying to be normal. But looking back on it, it was crazy. It was awesome.
And you say you started youth at 3, right?
Right. Yep.
And then you had all that experience in youth, wrestled those big names, those big tournaments, traveling regionally, and then once high school hit, you started in the 7th grade.
Right.
That's crazy. Talk about that.
So it was always like uh like another step, right? It was always like this is like a short term goal that I would always like have goals for myself. I'd have long term, short term, and then like goals I can reach in the middle too. But like I was always like I'm gonna wrestle in 7th grade. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna make it to states. Everyone like on my brother's team because my brother wrestled with really really good wrestlers like the Hosmer twins and Zach Flights and Xander Sharp, and they all been to states like maybe once in their career. And like don't get me wrong, they were phenomenal. All due respect to all of them, like they were all phenomenal. But I really like looked at myself as different. And like I really was like telling people like even on the first day, one of the stories I like to tell is you remember Big Nate Dogg from Canisteo that used to play football
Oh, like the
with the
big
long
dude,
hair
right? I
with the
think,
long hair.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was his like second year wrestling, right? And I was a little 7th grader just finally going into high school because obviously my brother went from Cornell to Canisteo, so I made that switch as well. So as soon as I reached high school, I went to Canisteo, and he was like club practice isn't until after, and then just kept messing with me. And I was like you wait until you see like who I am. And like I was just gassing myself up as a little 7th grader, and he didn't think anything of it. And then I competed pretty well. I mean, most of the season I wasn't I wasn't undersized at all, but I would always bump up because it was me and Xavier De Jesus at the same way. So we tried like spreading out, and he was really light for the team, so they'd always have me go up. But I took few losses that I should never have took. I think I lost probably like 5 times that year, which honestly seems like really good, but I really think I could have done so much better. But I ended up taking fourth as a 7th grader, so I think
First
that
year
really,
varsity wrestling, 4th at
yes,
states.
yes, sir. And I beat. That was the crazy year when everyone was having that controversy about me and that Hunter Kurtz, and that was awesome year. All due respect to them too, but that was just awesome. And then that really like honestly set my expectations for now. Now they were talking like, oh, maybe we could take him and he's going to do really good at the Eastern States tournament. And then I start doing that. I did, I actually did really bad my 7th grade year there. And then they finally got me back there my 11th grade year, won that. And then from there, honestly, I was like, I really think I could be the best in the country. So I started going out to these bigger tournaments and competing with the higher level kids. And like I said, like ever since I was young, competing with these guys, like it obviously makes you better too.
Yeah.
Taking losses up there too, but also getting those wins over top guys in the country gives you that confidence and makes you think like you really got this. So
Is that like? Would you say that's your biggest like lessons and takeaways from like a losses or a setback? You'd say.
100%. Like I think the biggest thing is for when you lose, I think you can't look past it. You can't just be like, all right, like this is why I lost, and give yourself excuses, right?
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, the reason you lost generally is on you. Not has nothing to do with anybody else. This is why I always like what my brother would always do. Whenever I lose or take a bad loss or anything, even if it was a kid I should have beat, he would give me a minute. I'll go sit down. Obviously, I'm a little kid, or even when I was in high school, I'm still so mad at myself. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But I really think that's what you need. You need time to sit by yourself and like instead of going at like talking to someone else and just like almost coming up with excuses and
Mm.
like saying like trying to almost get in an argument and just I just think that's really what you need is to put in your own head, kind of think why you lost, what you can do get better, and then you have to talk with your team. Your corner where you're like listen to them, and I think that's really important. That I really am trying to learn and going to learn that like everybody has different advice, and you really got to be a sponge. You got to
Yeah.
take in everything. You can't be like oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You always got to take everything in, try to learn. You know, so I
Yeah.
think that's really the biggest thing for losing.
100%.
But
I like that.
and again, it's just really good motivation. Gives you something to work for. That's why I like taking never like taking a loss, never like taking a loss. But I think it is important. To see how you can bounce back for sure.
I always look at losses sometimes as like just lessons, in the long run.
No,
You
100%.
know.
And like even if you're better, that's the part that gets me every time. When you're better, you guys know how it feels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're better, and you're just like, so, but you can't. Again, you have to focus. You have to think about it, but you can't dwell on it too.
Yeah. You
You
can't live.
gotta
You can't live in the moment.
exactly hundred
And in
percent.
those bitter losses and not so bitter losses, uh, how has New York State's wrestling shaped you as like a competitor? I've these this year was my first year being exposed to like real wrestling. I say
Right.
upstate. I feel like the city now is catching waves to the point where like it's popular enough to you know wrestle, I guess, and like grapple now. I've seen a big boom now with it, but coming upstate, I would say is it's different. It's a lot more tougher, especially mentally. You definitely have like that farmer's mindset over there.
Right.
It's different. Like you cultivate. Like you're meant to cultivate in grappling.
Hundred
Down
percent.
here though, that doesn't really feel that way. It's more like the flashy shit that people are concerned about. That's not what I like. So I
I
would.
totally, I totally understand what you're getting at, 100%. And I don't know if it's like you were almost saying, like it's almost like a lifestyle, like how you grew up, right? It's not even about just wrestling, how you got really taught to wrestle. It's almost like like a
It's
lot
like
of coaches,
instilling you.
100%, and a lot of coaches will tell you, like a lot of good coaches will tell you, like you guys can be at the same level, like technique, like you guys can be same level, like how good you guys are, but then when it comes down to a dog fight, it's who's tougher, who's got the biggest heart, whose mentality's there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of factors into just. It's not just all about technique. It's about who can be a dog. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like that, and like you were saying, like that's kind of comes with how you grew up and like what, like almost like what you had to deal with and overcome. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with it for sure. But not New York City wrestling's getting a lot better too.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're getting tough, really tough there.
I'm glad to see it. Honestly, like I wish it was like this when I was wrestling in high school, but this should it's getting better, like a little faster than I expected.
Right. How's the jujitsu and everything there?
Jiu-jitsu is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. You have the Gracies here.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, and at times Nick Diaz would come down here.
Oh, okay.
So Nick Diaz, so we could catch him sometime too.
Have you?
I want to. I really want to, but
That'd be
I've heard some
sick.
news about Nick Diaz lately, and I don't think he's coming back soon.
No,
But
Diaz boys are the Diaz boys are tough.
yeah,
Facts.
Tough. They're tough. So that's awesome.
Talking what you said earlier about your experience you made to Eastern States 11th grade year. I want to hear that Eastern States, like about that tournament.
Yeah. So honestly, probably one of the best years I've had wrestling. I was 50-0 at the time, coming into Eastern States, and there's a lot of talk about me and my brother were hearing things about like Wyoming Sem, like the best high school teams are going to be there. Like I remember there's a kid in my way. I think it was I want to say Lou Cercio, and he was ranked probably top 5, top 10 in the country at the time. So we were really focusing on wrestling that match too, right?
Yeah.
So and I already believed and I thought proved myself that year, especially that I was the best in New York State, and I really did believe that, and nobody really could have told me otherwise. But I end up getting. I remember he might have been signed up, and then they they didn't go or they didn't sign up or how it was. But I remember like I really didn't pay attention to that. So like when I got to the tournament, my brother was telling me like obviously I'm gonna look at the bracket. I was first seed, and because I was having a really big year. Like shout out to my training partner, Elijah Diakonos. We wrestled that year. I got the win over him. Great wrestler. But like again, like I was beating really great guys that year, and like I think they knew that I was the best in the bracket, and I I really thought there was gonna be like different different kids there. I still had a tough bracket. Don't get me wrong. I had I believe my first round or second round I wrestled. I had Grayson Meek. He is a 3-time state champ now.
Oh
He's
shit.
at 215. He's committed to University of Penn.
Oh word.
He's one of my boys. But he was a young kid, right? So I was 11th grade. He was ninth grade at the time. Big Jack kid, right? And Dave Bumgardner, really good friend of ours, was telling us. He's like, "Yeah, this is one of my kids." He's like, "He's really strong, really tough, but he's super young." So he's like just getting the hang of it. And I remember I ended up beating him like pretty good. I think it was 15-3. I want to say, and like I just felt like if I was just kept wrestling like the way I was, I really did not see anybody stopping me. And yeah, like I said, that kid turned out to be a beast. He won states again this year.
Word.
He's won Virginia Beach twice now. He that was a second round match in Eastern States. So, like to say that I didn't have a hard bracket is nothing less than totally wrong
Yeah.
because that
Second
was
round.
second.
Yeah.
And then my semis match was probably my hardest match for sure. an old teammate, Raphael Knapp. He wrestles at Buffalo now. Great kid, obviously. But yeah, we wrestled in the semis. I believe I hit him with. We were scrambling in the first period. Ended up scoring. I want to say like ended up being 5-0 probably the first period, and then I remember I got to a lead. It was probably like 8-2, and he's a tough kid. He's a really tough kid. And I probably shouldn't have let off the gas, but I got into where I was being an idiot and I was trying to coast a little bit, and he was pushing the pace and giving me a good match and took me down. I think that's still what I beat myself up about because I got taken down twice after having a huge lead, and then I think I ended up winning the match 10-6, I believe, something like that. But like I said, really, really tough kid wrestling D1 now. He's won a lot of stuff, really tough. But it was a semis match too, so it wasn't even
Yeah.
my finals. Like I think very well either of them could have made the finals on the other side for sure. Like very tough kids. But then my finals match, I had a kid from Meninsing Valley. Really good. He was a really good wrestler. He wrestled for Castleton now, I believe.
Is that where
And
PJ wrestles?
Meninsing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yep, that's where DJ and Zach and them went to high school. But yeah, I ended up winning, I believe, 10-2. I think I remember I just finally got the major in the finals, which was awesome. It was a surreal moment. I had a bunch of family there, and my brother, my friends, my family. I know Caden came out and seen me, and then like all my buddies, like the kid I trained Y was there. Everyone was there, and like I always grew up and feeling like I had a great support system. Even in Canasteel, like I really had a lot of people that really cared and loved me and had my back and everything. But like you know, I just think I had that mentality where I couldn't lose. There was no way. I I really don't think I I could have lost that day, and I really put that in my head.
100%.
Yeah.
Really don't.
Mental's everything.
It is. It is. And that's why I didn't really want to look at me being the first seed because I seen and I knew how tough these kids were. I knew how tough it was going to be, and that's why I don't like seeds really because not always is the first seed gonna win. Like that's never how it
Yeah,
just ends.
I
And
feel that.
like especially at those tournaments, like, you never know, anything can happen, anything. But no, that's probably my favorite tournament
Your
of all time.
junior year one?
Not even just junior year, just Eastern States in
So
general,
both
honestly.
years, yeah, just the tournament in general. I feel
Yeah,
that.
I really enjoyed that tournament. I always had great matches there.
Mm.
Like my senior year, I had our boy Charlie in the quarters.
Really?
And I ended up wrestling him in the state finals later that year, but he was my quarters match, bro.
Damn.
Oh shit. No way.
That's
No, he's
crazy,
good.
bro.
I know that tournament was crazy. Looking back on it, like I said, I try making every tournament like I'm not like I'm not making it bigger than it is. I don't. That's why I don't really like to look too far. I'm not the type to go look at someone's name and be like, all right, what have they done? I
Yeah.
just honestly the only reason I really look at my bracket is to find when I'm wrestling and everything. So I always try not to make it big, but it's always good to look back on it. It's like, dang, I really did. I did that, or like this was my bracket. Like it's always awesome to look back on.
Now, who was your finals match of the seniors Eastern States?
So this is this is a kid that I wrestled. Actually, he was in my 11th grade summer. He was in my NHSCA nationals bracket, and we had the number one ranked pound for pound kid in the country, Gage Wright, at 170. He was the first seed. This kid, Nate Blanchett, I believe, from New England, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's from there or somewhere. But yeah, really, really tough kid. And I was watching this match with Gage Wright and Blanchett, and I remember he like threw a headlock or something. I see Gage Wright go to his back. I was like, dude, there is no way that just happened. And then like so he ended up beating him, and obviously like so that's how I knew of him, and I was like, this kid's got to be like pretty like really really tough and like pretty good ranked in the country. And my brother like he didn't really want to like tell me about like what he was ranked at the time, like, and I didn't care, but like he's like this kid's ranked really high. He's like, we need to go get this one. So we dialed in. I focused in on everything. I took a loss early that year, so I was 50-1 going into the tournament or something like that, and I was actually trying to look to avenge my loss against another really good opponent and friend of mine, Gage LaPlante, and um, we were supposed to meet in the semis, and then unfortunately he got caught on his back
Mm.
by I forgot who the cat wrestled in the semis, but yeah, I was trying to avenge my loss, so I wasn't totally just focused on one kid because I know, especially in wrestling, every match is gonna be different, and like everybody's coming for you. And Charlie is a good example. Like he didn't care. Like I just beat him early in the year. He didn't care. I beat him last summer. He didn't care. He was coming right after me. Gave me a good match. I ended up beating him. I want to say 5-2, 6-2. Like it was tough, close match. But I think that really like set me straight. I was like, all right, I need to focus in. If I'm gonna wrestle a kid top five in the country in the finals, then I have to focus. So
Mm.
I end up not getting my get back on in the semis. So I was just focused kind of on like what I got to do to win this match. And honestly, it came down to who wanted it more, and really the dogfight. Like I was saying, like I couldn't even tell you if I was a better technical wrestler that day at all against him, but we got in a few scrambles, and against Blanchett in the finals, we got in a few scrambles. I almost took him down two more times on the occasion, but ended up getting him with the last takedown. I think the last 15 seconds, ended up beating him 3-1, and then I walk off the mat like I even had a bigger support system. And hell, Mac, everybody was there. There was a bunch of people there cheering for me, which was awesome. But my brother like comes up running, hugs me. He's like, "You just beat the number 4 kid in the country." He's like, "You are the." He's like, "You're the best." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, it took me a moment. I was like, "Let's go!" I was like, "I'm the best," and like it was just awesome. Like, just not like again, like I keep saying, like not making the moment bigger than it is, but
Yeah.
always looking back and like realizing what you have done. All this work you're putting in is working, and it's great to see, you know. So
In
It's a
that
wonderful story.
that kid, he wasn't from New York.
he was from New England. So
Really?
Eastern States has Massachusetts, or he might have been no, he might have been from Massachusetts. I could be mistaken, but Massachusetts, New England, obviously. I
Yeah, I
think there's
think
two other two other
New
states
England's in
that.
Massachusetts.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Massachusetts and like a bunch of like I think there's like four other states um that go to Eastern states, and it's not just,
Damn.
and that's what I really loved about the tournament was it's not just D1.
I didn't even
It's
peep.
like you get D1 and D2,
Yeah.
all combined. That's why I always loved it. It really proves who's the best in the weight class. So
So, the junior year, senior year, Eastern States, back-to-back champ. Both same weight, right? 170.
yes, sir.
And
Yes,
then
sir.
the way you finished your varsity high school career, how'd that go?
It went great. I mean, like I said, I had a great support system throughout my whole senior year, and I feel like I was doing everything right, and it wasn't even just focused on me because I was always trying to make everybody else around me better, and that was like one of my main focuses. We're getting the team to being the second best team in the state by far, and like I just really think it was a great year in general. But then like postseason time, I obviously had to tune in, focus on myself because like we said, back-to-back Eastern State champ. But we know I didn't get to compete my junior year, so I was like, I gotta get this state title, 100%. I was like, there's no way, nothing in this world. I don't care if I got a bum knee, if I had a torn labrum the whole season. I don't care about like anything. There is nothing that's gonna take this from me, and that was my whole mindset. And I worked. I I'd get up 4:30 a.m. every morning, and like
Damn.
I was so focused and so dialed, and there was nobody outworking me, nobody in that tournament that was outworking me. And then I accomplished my goal, and it was great. And then that's when I had to have surgery after that, which sucked. But now getting back, getting back right, getting back right now. Finally starting to feel like myself again. Starting to be able to hit the weights harder now, and finally getting back in shape and everything. So very excited for this next year.
It's good to
Can't
hear.
wait.
Yeah, bro,
About to
it's
be
good. It's
crazy.
great.
Statement year for sure. Can't wait.
Hell yeah. You know, going in from high school to Division 1 wrestling, where you competed at University of Buffalo. What was the biggest
Right.
difference between the two?
Well, this is what I went to school in Buffalo. I didn't. I mean, I competed at open tournaments when I was back healthy. That's the whole thing about my whole experience was I would have been it would have been a lot better, obviously, if I was able to not have a torn labrum and not have to do 8 months of recovery. Which again, those trainers and everybody there were awesome. They were helping me through everything, and yeah, like everybody was helping me, and like I just think it really set me back, really set me back. And this is the next thing that I got to overcome is like being out 8 months. Really takes a toll on you, and you don't really realize that until you go out into your first open tournament as a kid who just got off winning everything, and like you realize that nobody cares obviously what you've done.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, and then it doesn't matter. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to go into a tournament. You're not going to be able to go into a tournament being 2 weeks, 3 weeks back. You know what I mean? These kids are training all summer, even just for these opens. These kids are training all summer long. There's not a day they're taking a rest, and that's why I felt not necessarily I rushed it 100%. I just feel like I could have done way more better preparation, and I think maybe a little more time. But then again, everything happens for a reason, and
Mm.
it's gonna be a really good setback for me and comeback. So like I said again, learning from it, and I didn't like how like everything ended. Obviously, like everybody was there. Everybody in Buffalo was great people. Team, the coaches, they were always great. But obviously, like we're probably about to get into, you're gonna ask me about my commitment and everything. But for that, I obviously want to take time and really thank everybody that helped me in Buffalo. Like even just the little things with everything. I just really want to thank, and I don't want people to think I'm leaving because it's a problem with the team or I'm leaving it's a problem with culture. I'm leaving because I think it's at the end of the day best decision for me, and I think my whole life revolves around that, and that's one thing I've always done in my life is I'm gonna make the best decision for me, and whatever people think about it, it's at the end of the day, if it's gonna be better for me in the long run, then that's what I got to do.
That's all that
You know,
matters. Hmm.
Yeah, it really is.
100%. Whatever's gonna at the end of the day, whatever's gonna take care of me and my family, and what's gonna be the best for us.
Yeah.
So like I said, I enjoyed everything that happened. I 100% wish I could have actually wrestled at Buffalo because I had to do a bunch of rehab and everything. But again, thankful for everything. But now it's a new chapter. So getting excited about that.
And that new chapter is.
First, want to thank all the coaches. Got to give praise. For sure, don't even want to leave out the coaches that I couldn't even reach out to. I know there's a bunch of them I got to be able to call back and tell them thank you for all taking the time to reach out to me. And I'm really thankful for every single opportunity all the coaches wanted to give me. But I think I had to go I had to go with the right decision on this. And with when you're looking for a coach, and this is good for all recruitment, young kids, and everything. It's not about I don't want them to make it about how good like how good a coach was, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like because a good coach is not always the best wrestler in the world. You know what I mean? And it shows in a lot of even around here that you can have people who've never wrestled, for example, my dad, and they could be great coaches
Yeah.
because just like being it all takes about being a person. You know, you're helping coach now too. So it takes about knowing your knowing your guy, you know, believing in your guy is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also taking the time with your guy, and I've had my guy ever since, and I'm gonna stick with my guy. And everybody knows who my guy is, Coach Stutz at Bloomsburg University. So can't wait, baby. We're gonna listen. This Stutz era is gonna be crazy.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna have a great team this year. It's gonna people are people are sleeping on us, but we're gonna show at the end of the year. We're gonna see. People are sleeping, but people will know who we are. And we just got another commitment too with my coach's son, Jay Schaefer. Can't wait for that. Another big name.
Hell yeah.
Same with my two old teammates in Buffalo, Kale and Coy Rains. Those are my boys. They're about to come there
Oh
with me
really?
too. Yes, sir. Oh,
Yo.
I might have leaked it a little too early,
Yo.
but I'm pretty sure it's official. I'm pretty sure. So no, but shout out to all my boys that are gonna be with me on this journey, and all my teammates. Especially shout out to Coach Stutz.
You have old
I can
teammates from high school as well, right?
Yes, sir. We have Jared Harris, a kid that I went to high school with in Pelmac, obviously, and then I'm gonna have Zach Rooks, my best friend, and probably be my roommate too. But really excited for their future. Great kids, great wrestlers, and this team's gonna be special.
Hell yeah.
And like I said,
You already sound so special, man.
Yeah. How already sound like has that little bit of chemistry before the season even started, you know what I mean? Before you even
oh yeah,
started putting in the work, you already got some chemistry.
100%. And I promise there's no better option right now for me than, and I again thankful for all the coaches that wanted me to come out for a visit, but I already knew almost where I wanted to go because that like I said, Stutzman is my guy. He will ride and die for you. He's in my opinion one of the best coaches in college, and that's not even like I was saying, getting into wrestling standpoint. They will find out how good we are and how good we will be.
Mm.
But it's gonna be exciting. It's
I'm
gonna be
excited.
exciting.
I know you're
Me too.
excited.
I can't wait.
Well,
I'm leaving soon too. Leaving soon, getting ready to lock in. Gonna be dialed in over there, and
2 days
a movie. Yes, sir.
from
Going right over
today.
there. Yes, sir. Wasting no time. Gonna get right after it.
Hell yeah.
There would not be nobody working harder. Promise that.
What are your What are your goals for next season? You know what's on your your list at the top of the list that you got to get done.
So, like I was saying earlier, I got little stepping stones. Obviously, I want to get two, but I think a good goal is I've always had high expectations for myself, so I'm always gonna be an overachiever, and I'm gonna always try to be the best. Like obviously, it's it's almost not realistic for me to say, "Oh, I'm gonna be NCAA champ" as a freshman coming in, but like that's honestly obviously the biggest goal I think. But for me, as a good goal right now, is not just to make it to the NCAA tournament. I want to go place. I want to go be an All American.
All American.
And I really think if I really focus in this whole summer, and really just focus on me and my whole lifestyle, everything, and just live and die about this, I really think I can do it. And I really do.
Hell yeah.
And then I think eventually I will be an NCAA champ. I really do.
It's destined.
Yes, sir.
You got 4 years.
Yes, sir. They're giving me too much time. I'm like, winning, get out. Get out.
Oh yeah.
No, definitely. That's my goal for sure. Obviously, I want to be like first steps, MAC champion. MAC champion, you know, like that's big goal. That's big step.
And that's your conference, right?
Yes, sir. That's conference. But like I said, I got higher expectations than that. I'm not just trying to make the tournament. I want to make an impact early, you know.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, this shit does sound exciting, bro. A lot of your growth has been, I don't know, so fucking human.
Yeah, I mean, from what we just talked about, from 3-year-olds to now, Braidon Woodward, you know, crazy.
Yeah.
It is, and honestly, there's a lot that people don't know that we know, like everything going on behind the scenes and everything we've all went through, you know, and that's the beauty behind it. Nobody knows what anybody's been through, and like it's just a blessing, man. It really is, and really think there's a plan that God always has for me and always had for me. And like my grandma always told me, everything happens for a reason, and I truly, truly believe by that.
Exactly.
And I really think this is, like you said, for not just me, for all of us, we are destined for something. You know, we will be champs. It's
100%.
going to happen. And I know every time we hang out, we're telling each other this because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
You just gotta put it out there along with putting the work in, and it's gonna happen.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, it's all about discipline too. All about discipline.
It's a beautiful thing, man. He's really just putting the pieces together, and then I think it all just falls in place.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, coming from your standpoint now, if someone who was to get into wrestling, or let's say if they already been wrestling, maybe losing some motivation, what advice would you give to them? You know what I mean? To starters or people who've been in the game for a minute.
Right. So I obviously, you know, I coach a lot of kids, and I train kids since they were young, and I try to be a big mentor in people's life. And what I really always tell kids is you're not necessarily going to know right away, but you almost want to find what I call it, like what everyone says, like your why, you know? Like you really want to find your why. And like I was talking about earlier, this isn't for fun. Like we do all these practices, we do all this hard work as combat sport athletes. Nope. If you ask the best guys and they say this is fun, they're either lying or they're delusional. This is not fun. Like, you know, going out golfing with your boys, that's fun. That's fun. You know what I mean? But like again, like you have to have a purpose. And whether it to be you want this to lead to shaping you as a man to take care of your family one day, as if you want this to take over your life and again make you a better person to be a better person in the real world. You know what I mean? Like it all ties into, again, why are you doing this?
Exactly.
And especially if you're stuck, like you were saying, if you know that this is your why, this is like gonna help your why, or this is your why, or this is like Milt was saying earlier, your escape. If you know this, then you have to turn to this too. Like everything in life is not gonna be all butterfly and rainbows. Like it's not all gonna be great. Everything in everybody's life happens. Someone's gone through something, and it's all about, like, at the end of the day, what are you living for? Like like almost, I say my why is I want to take care of my family for the rest of my life, and like doing things, like everybody has goals. You're not getting into this just to be a national champ, right? This isn't that's not gonna set you up for life. You're doing this to find your why, you know. And I just really tell kids that, honestly, you need to be stuck. You need to go through stuff, and you need to overcome it. And wrestling is one, like Mel was saying earlier, big example of it. Like you get humbled, you go through these stumps, you get beat up in wrestling, and you got to overcome this. And that's like biggest quote I live by. Like is Dan Gable saying, "Once you wrestled in life, everything else is easy."
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah, I should ask it
yeah,
to me as well.
right. Nah, like it's kind of hard just to like to straight tell a kid like why to keep going, but it's like almost to have them reflect on themselves too, of like why are they doing it,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna just, like I said, you're not gonna just join wrestling for fun. It's not fun. It's not. But
But of course, there's some matches you have had fun in, though, right?
oh, come on, when that's the best part, and like that's the
Tell me
best
about your
part.
favorite match, bro.
Favorite match.
Ooh.
That's really tough. That is really, really
A
tough.
lot of matches, huh?
Yeah, over a thousand, over a thousand, over a thousand at least. But I
Actually, I
honestly
also,
think
I also wanted to ask this too. How many matches have you had, like, in total?
I honestly couldn't give you obviously an exact number.
That's crazy, bro.
say I'd say over 100%, like actual matches, not even just counting, like obviously you ain't counting like club practice matches, like actual tournament
Yeah.
matches. I've had literally over a thousand matches.
It's insane, bro.
And like,
Yeah. I remember one year I wrestled. I want to say I was 8 years old. I ended up, I think, 98-2 as a little kid.
that's your
Like
youth?
all
98-2.
one
One
in one
year.
year, one season,
Oh,
not even a year. See, like I literally went to almost so many tournaments,
What was your
and it
youth
wasn't.
record?
I can't remember. I think it was something stupid, but everybody has some stupid records in youth. I think it was
Yeah.
like, I want to say, 600 or 700 and something, and
mhm.
then like I lost probably like, I remember this is one thing I was like, I can't lose 100 matches in my, like, it's like when I was like a little sixth grader, I was like, I can't lose 100 matches in total. So I know I had under 100 losses, but
Yeah.
it was up there for sure, 100%. But no, youth was crazy. I was literally wrestling all over,
Is
every
your
single every weekend. You know that every single
yeah
week I was gone
your
every
high
weekend.
school record's just as crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I had the record for CWC. I had wins record for. I would have had it for Can of Steel for sure with my total, but then I also had the wins record for Pale Mac too. So in total, not like obviously because I went to Pale Mac 1 year, but I ended up. I think my final high school record, I do know this, is exactly 250 and I want to say 15, 250 and 15, which is crazy. But I'm still mad at myself for most of those losses in my seventh grade year
Yeah.
were just that's what really kind of like I just lost stupid matches, and then I just look back at it and I'm like, it was just dumb. But no, I was happy. I was really happy with my career for sure. But you know, everything is in the past, so
It
future's
is.
bright. You know what I
100%.
mean? Future's bright.
Got a little carried away with that question, but going back to what Milt said.
Yeah, we've been going off
Yeah, we had
It's all good.
topic. We're just chatting. We're just chatting.
facts.
No, it's awesome. But I mean, I think with just in general, I think that's honestly the best way to do it. I'm not saying go have your kid wrestle 1,000 matches, but like just going to compete as much as you really can, and as much as your kid can without hating it or feeling like it's like a priority to wrestle this much. Like they still have to have fun. They're a kid.
Yeah.
Like I think it's really good to go out and compete a lot, for sure, especially at a young age. Get that experience.
Sure.
What Milt said. What was your favorite match of all time? From
Yeah.
youth to high school to now.
As like, see, there could be different answers because honestly, I like different scenarios. Remember, like, was it 2 summers ago when you were fighting in the cage and I was wrestling in the cage and like that. That's really
Yeah.
fun to me. That's awesome. You know what I mean? So that'd probably be one of my top favorites, other than like wrestling at Eastern States against number 4 kid in the country. Obviously, that's probably one of my favorite
Senior
matches
year.
as well. Right. Yep. Because we had crazy scrambles in front of a huge crowd. Just everyone tuned in on one match. Like that's always great. But I think as like in total, with like not just doing high school or any of that, I think that cage match topped it. Just because the walkout with being with my boy and everything. That's like
Facts.
both getting dubs and belts.
What'd you walk out to
That's-
that match? Was it Chief
think-
Keef?
No way, Chief Keef.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. I think. I want to say it was.
Finito?
It was either Love Sosa. I think it was Love Sosa
Oh,
or
Love Sosa.
Benito. One of them. Was it Love Sosa? I believe it was one of them. I walked out with the mask and everything. that was awesome. That was awesome.
Was that freestyle or folk style?
That was it was weird. It was folk style, but like they like didn't like count my back points, and then like they would let me be on top for like 15 seconds, and then like they would just stand it back up. But I went and rewatched that one time, and I was like, dude, the score's like 25-3. Like, why are we still wrestling?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, no, it was funny.
Y'all didn't realize the score was that crazy.
Dude, no, because I got so tired. I was like, bro, I tapped them already, and I was like, what is this? I was like, in the third period, I was so tired because I was just trying to put on a show. I picked the kid up in the air, walked him around the cage and everything, and I just got so tired. I was like, dude, how's this match not ended? But no, it was awesome.
Who did they have ref it? Was it like ISK?
I think they had like high school refs actually come.
Oh, word.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they just fucked that shit up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I don't know, but that's awesome.
Hey, what's one thing you think people don't realize about college wrestling?
One big thing is that like we talked about, nothing matters about what you ever did. Everybody's back at, again, 0-0. My record's 0-0 now. Like, no matter what I've done in life, not going to top what I'm about to do because it's a new whole step. New whole step. You
Those
know
are
what I mean?
fucking bars.
No, but like for real, like it's really like what people don't really realize is just it's all like the worst kids that you're gonna wrestle are as good as one of the best kids you're gonna wrestle, if that makes sense. Where it's all the same, you know. Every match is gonna be a dogfight. There's no easy match in college wrestling, especially Division One. I know Division 3, Division 2, really really tough as well. Like you guys know, you guys wrestled. Like no match is gonna be easy. There's no easy match at all.
The way I
They know.
look at it is just like everyone that's right there in college were like stars or starters or captains on their high school team. You know what I mean?
100%.
Even though that doesn't
Yeah.
like matter, but it's like that's like the level of competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Kind of like sort of to give respect to like where they come from a little bit.
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
But you know, this was a good episode. I cannot lie. Talking about Braidon's journey, getting to know him from age 3 to now, all the accolades and accomplishments. Let me know if I forgot any. 2-time Eastern State champ. Dog.
Yeah, I don't like to toot my own horn like that.
Nah, though. You gotta let him know. Let him know.
Everything you said was fine. Everything you got.
But
But
you know, any shouts to coaches, family?
honestly, that too much shout outs, you know. I go back from my youngest when I was 3 years old to Bryson Twilliger's dad, Noel, Mr. Graham, my first Donnie Graham, my first coach ever. I mean Phil, Jeff, you know, like Gamel, big individual coach. I'd love to all thank them. And obviously, starting now, best coach I've ever had for sure, Coach Ed Schaefer. And I gotta give a lot of props to the coaches on the side that's also helped me. I've had such a great opportunity to go practice with Yanni Dackmahouse's dad and his little brother. Like that's such a surreal moment as well. Probably one of the best coaches in the country. I want to thank every coach that's ever even just showed me something little, even gave me a little speech, anything. If I'm like, I don't want to forget anyone. Also, my 2 biggest coaches that I've had my whole life, my brother, my dad, 100%. Gotta give a shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, biggest coaches in life is family. You know? Like, me, it's not necessarily always about wrestling. You know, they're my biggest coaches in life, help me get through everything, making sure I'm staying on point with everything. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody, you know, especially my friends, you boys, like Keegan, all of them.
Appreciate
you know,
it.
can't I mean this with everything. I would not be here without any of y'all. Like, for real. Like, I wouldn't be here without you boys. I wouldn't be here without my coaches, anybody. And like, I want to be this good. I want to be where I'm at. I want to be anybody. And I came to realize that. I don't like to be selfish. So all props to everybody that's ever helped me.
That's love. That's love.
Yes, sir.
Man,
Yep.
What a journey. Huge
That is-
thanks to Braidon for coming on, sharing his story.
Thank you for having me. And like I was telling Caden on our trip, I was like, I tune into this podcast. Y'all gotta keep tuning in.
That's love.
This is only the start. Hey, like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has how many podcasts he's done?
Yeah.
This is just the start, boy. Just the start.
Just
And
the
listen,
start.
it's gonna be bigger and better every single time. And trust me, hey, not only am I gonna be here, whenever you guys call me, be back on. I'm hopping right back
We
on.
appreciate
This is my,
that.
my
Yes,
voice for
sir.
life.
There's love.
When we're UFC champs, I might have to co-host on this. You know,
Definitely. Yes.
For sure.
100%. No, much love to you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, fans, everybody, keep tuning in. You know, this Rounds of Life podcast, not just about combat sports, about life. You know, just keep tuning in to my boys, doing a great job. Love to see it. Love to see like you guys starting something. You know, a lot of people always talk and talk about starting stuff. You guys love to see my boys actually doing it, and I really blessed to see that
That's love.
for sure.
We
Yes, sir.
appreciate that. You
It's
know,
always great talking to you too, Braidon.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
We wish you nothing but success and heads into his new chapter at Bloomsburg. We wish
Yes,
you
sir.
the absolute best.
Thank you. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for having
You
me.
guys, of course, Braidon. It's always a pleasure having you with us, bro. It's always a pleasure talking to you, bro. Like you're always that lit ass dude that I love to hang around with. But whenever shit gets serious, he's always capable of doing it, bro. Like I respect the hell out of you, bro. You have a good heart. You
Thank you.
do, and you have a huge fire under you, and you're learning to control it, bro. And all I can say, bro, is you're learning to be human, and that's the biggest thing in life, bro. Being human with the amount of power you have, it will only make you a more beautiful person, bro. And you have that strength, bro. I know it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course, bro.
Appreciate you.
Until next
Appreciate
time,
you. Yes, sir. Till next time. Keep tuning in, boys.
keep chasing
Of
and
course,
keep
bro.
grinding.
Yes,
We'll see
yes,
it.
sir. Always. Hey, I'll talk to you, boys. Okay. I'll give you all a
All right,
call.
bro.